Welcome to the Invitational webinar contest at Online Presenters. My name is David Carr. I led this club to charter back in 2017 and currently serve as its VP of Education. And this webinar contest is one of my favorite inventions to come out of this club. Sometimes we get a little too inventive, a little bit too innovative, and Toastmasters International slaps us back. But here we have something that we've been able to do on our own, which is invite in Toastmasters from around the world to participate in a contest to see who has learned not just to tolerate being on Zoom, but who's learned how to be really good at it. Now, we did hold our own club level contest a couple of weeks ago, but tonight all 6 contestants will be invited guest speakers. We started out with 10 people who entered to be considered as contestants, and the 6 who you'll be hearing from tonight were chosen on the basis of video recorded speeches that they shared with us. Now, this is not an official Toastmasters contest, but I hope you'll agree that it's a worthwhile one. And if your club or district would like to organize something similar, please feel free to reach out to me, and I'd be happy to help. But the idea is that there are distinct skills that apply to speaking online as opposed to speaking on stage, and that we ought to practice them, and that we ought to test them in something like a contest. And the challenges include certainly mastery of the technology, kind of the technical environment, but also just making that emotional connection. How do you create engagement with your audience when you're having to speak through a piece of glass to people who are far away and may be tempted to check their email if you don't keep them paying attention and unable to look away because you are so fascinated. Now, our judges will look for all the basics like good organization, but also specifically for things like how the contestants engage with the audience. And this is the scoring scheme that we use. So we basically hacked the international speech contest. We added some points that are specific to audience engagement. How do you create that connection with the audience? We added some points to visual presentation because this is a visual medium. You can say being up on stage is a visual medium too, but it's a different visual medium. Now, the speakers have the permission, the license to use any fancy webinar techniques that they might want to use. They can use webcam effects, they can use presentation technologies, they can use polling technologies. They don't have to. I tell them not to turn it into a special effects extravaganza. What we're looking for is, do they use whatever techniques they use effectively? And we've seen speakers at the International Speech Contest who were speaking virtually, who just used the webcam frame in inventive ways to create that dramatic presentation. So that's our scoring. Now, the order of the contestants was determined in advance, and you see it here on the screen. And Jim Barber's been studying up on how to pronounce everybody's name. He'll be our contest master tonight. So this is the speaking order. Now, judges, you should have received a digital ballot, and that ballot should show this same speaking order. So as you mark off the contestants based on how they did, you should see them in this order. And Jim Barber, by the way, he was the winner at our club contest a couple of weeks ago. So you're lucky that you don't have to compete against Jim because Jim is fabulous. But he is lending his fabulousness tonight, making sure that you all have a great event. Now, there is one other player who I should highlight, which is Joni Renee Laidlaw. Joni, maybe you can unmute for a second or wave or something just to make sure folks see who you are. There's Joni. Hello. Joni is going to be acting as our chat monitor. So there's a little bit of assistance that each of the speaker has the option of using if they think it would be helpful. If they ask for people to post something in the chat, Joni can keep an eye on the chat and relay those questions to the speaker. So you don't have a whole production crew behind you, but you have a little bit of help. Well, actually, you have a lot of help because you have Joni, and Joni's a big deal. And so with that, let's have a great contest tonight. That's most of my spiel, including the chief judging aspects. You know, we'll follow Toastmasters International standard contest rules, with the exceptions that I've outlined. And you are allowed and in fact encouraged to keep your cameras on during the event. And with a couple of exceptions that may be noted along the way, you should stay muted unless the speaker asks you to unmute, just to prevent audio chaos from overtaking our meeting. I think now it's time for me to be quiet and let Jim Barber take over as our contest master and master of ceremonies. Jim Barber.
Thank you very much, David Carr. I think you were very thorough. There's not anything I really need to do in terms of setup. I will ask our contestants, primarily our contestants, but of course audience members as well. Are there any last-minute questions before we get started? Anybody have any questions, issues, or anything like that? All righty. The speaking order David gave a few moments ago in the on the screen, and it'll probably show up in the chat room sometime if it hasn't shown up already. And basically the only people that need to be concerned about that are our contestants and the judges anyway. So I think we're ready to get started. So let's do it. Alrighty. Our first presenter this evening is Jessica Breitenfeld, and we've got a couple of questions to ask before we actually jump into this. So Jessica, let's see, where are you? Fine. There you are. Okay. You were on the second screen. Okay. Jessica, let's see. I need a microphone check, please. Can we hear you?
Check, check.
We hear you. I assume you can hear us.
Yes.
Can you see yourself on video? You like the way you look?
Hair's a little bit messy, but
All righty. And can you see our timer? Because on video, that can sometimes be a problem. Jim's, can you see Jim?
yes.
Okay, in that case, I think we're ready to start.
Jim, can you do the raise hand trick to make sure that we keep you on screen?
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, David. Okay, let's get started. Our first contestant this evening, Jessica Breitenfeld. Fight, flight, or sweat through your shirt. Fight, flight, or sweat through your shirt. Jessica Breitenfeld.
It's a cold winter's night. I'm snowboarding with the cutest, coolest guy in high school, Matt. And to get him to fall in love with me, I decide that tonight is the night. I see a 3-meter high wall, and I think that is exactly what will impress him. So I speed towards the wall on my snowboard, and when I'm 3 meters in the air, it's great. I realize I do not know how to turn my body. As I lay there, Matt leans over me with a look of concern in his eyes. And the first thing I think is, man, snow is really hard. Doctors say to me, nothing we can do for your back. Your lower back, small bone, broke. You're gonna live with pain the rest of your life. My entire life, I had dreams of becoming a mom like every small town Canadian kid, right? Husband, 2 kids, 1 mortgage. Ladies, you know, the simple dream. And that day, that dream was shattered from me. How could I imagine having kids if just bending over to pick up socks hurt me so bad because I had heard a lot of kids and some husbands drop a lot of socks. But I refused to listen to that doctor's advice. I took off. I left Canada. Not because it's cold, because it's really cold. Any of you been to Canada? I went on an eat, pray, eat. Can't see it. And then when I would run out of money from traveling all around the world trying to figure out how to fix my back, I discovered that I could just go home to Canada, Toronto, and waitress, make some cash, and then set off again. Say goodbye to the roommates, mom and dad, and fly off towards alternative cures, cracking chiropractors, poking acupuncturists, and those inner child therapists. And spent so much time in India that my balding, bearded, beautiful guru, Goenka, gave me a new spiritual name. Chicken curry Canadian. And sometimes Toastmasters. Sometimes that pain that had destroyed what I thought I would become, what I had hoped my life would turn into, that pain, it went away. And Goenka and I would dance under the sparkling stars. Life is life. Na, 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 na. Sing along if you know it. Life is life. And the pain always came back. And I learned a very important lesson. That sometimes you need to accept what life gives you. Toastmasters, judges, imagine your life and something you've had to accept. Something that you wish life had never given you. Now, think if you were able to adapt to it. Imagine you're in the woods with me. You're in Canada. Why would you go to Canada? I don't know, you have Florida. But you're in the woods with me and we see a bear. You are going to either fight, flee, or play dead. Now, it depends. What kind of a bear is it? If it's a black bear or a brown bear, there's things differently. And what kind of a Canadian would I be if I didn't know the difference between what you do to adapt to a different kind of bear? And you, Toastmasters, have you ever met a bear? Type a yes in the chat box if you have met a bear. No, yes, Jim. You decide how to respond. When the bear comes, you're going to be a good friend, kick me, and run away, perhaps. Now, I want you to take your arm like this, and we're going to be judging our adaptability to uncertainty. When the bear comes, you don't know what to do. Here, everyone, put your arm like this. This means you are not very adaptable to sudden bears in your face. This means, hey, I was born fighting. I could handle COVID, no sweat. On the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, we are going to rate ourselves. Ready? Thank you for your honesty. Being adaptable was something that we all learned, and what I learned through those 22 years of traveling the world trying to fix a broken bone that wasn't getting fixed. As I stand here now with you today, I wish I were sitting, and I've learned something very important that can help all of us. Adaptability intelligence, the #1 skill of the future of work. 91% of HR managers said that this is going to be the skill that is going to change the way we work. And we can measure it now. As a coach and trainer and as a therapist, we can measure your environment. Maybe it's your boss that doesn't let you guys adapt very well. Perhaps it is the way you were born. Can we change that? Oh, yes, we can. We can make you more hopeful. And so as I learned through the 22 years of trying to deal with pain and realizing that some things we can't change, we must learn how to adapt. And I learned one word that changed the way I saw life. Unfortunately, I broke a bone. Fortunately, I got to travel the entire world trying to fix it. Unfortunately, it cost all my money. Fortunately, I won the lottery. Unfortunately, I did not. That one word, fortunately, at the beginning of my sentence, was the word that was able to help me switch from seeing something negative to positive, to adapt to a new situation. Try this out, your fingers like this, just flip it. If you can do that, you're under age 20. Very nice. And so we create the lab, and I would love to train at your online presentations, Toastmasters group, the 3 steps to becoming more adaptable. It has to do with but and end. And my name is Jessica. Thank you for being with me. And may your days be more adaptable and that you see the brightness in the situation that you get. The lemons that life gives you. May you thrive and adapt in the 3 steps with a yes and attitude. Contest chair.
Thank you, Jessica. Judges, please take 1 minute to mark your ballots. Audience members, please refrain from distracting our judges by conversation. However, feel free to comment on Jessica's presentation or anything else that might suit your fancy in the chat box. We have that. That won't distract anybody. And Mr. Timer, could you please let me know when a minute has passed? Thank you, Mr. Timer. Judges, please finish marking your ballots and prepare for our second speaker. Our second speaker is Khalid Amin. Khalid, let's see. Where are you at, Khalid? Wave. That's the problem with having multiple. There you are. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I was muted. I'm okay now. Can you hear
Okay,
me?
good. I can see you. Can you see the timer?
Yes, I can see the timer. Yes, he's
Cool.
waving at me.
Good. I hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Can you see yourself on the video screen? Do you like what you see?
Well, I don't think it matters. It matters to the audience who is watching me.
Yeah, but I can't poll them, so I'll just ask you. You're
Thank
reasonably
you.
happy. Such a deal.
I'm always happy. I'm always happy.
All right, let's do it then. Our second presenter, our second contestant this evening is Khalid Amin. Light a candle in the world. Light a candle in the world. Khalid Amin. Khalid.
Do you remember when you were 10 years old? Mr. Contest Master, fellow Toastmasters, distinguished guests. When I was 10 years old, I lived in Bahrain, a small island nation in the Persian Gulf. My mom, Safiya, was a housewife. She couldn't even read or write and was taking care of me and my 4 younger brothers. My dad, Muhammad, was a school dropout, a taxi driver, working in a faraway country to take care of to support his family. But I went to school where my classmates' parents were either teachers or government officials. Looking at them, I felt my future was destined to be very dark. Add to that, school for us meant 6 days a week, 7 in the morning till 2 in the afternoon. And every day, as soon as the recess bell rang, all the kids ran to the cafeteria to buy their favorite food and drink. I had no money. I stayed in my chair, pretending to read my books. And my classmates would come and make fun of me. Your mama forgot to make you a sandwich today? Can you imagine how I felt hearing those words? They pierced my soul. They hurt my little heart and made me feel small. That was my life for the first 8 years of school. But then I went to high school and met a gentleman, silver-haired and very tall, my math teacher, Mr. Jamal. I was doing well in his class, but one day, when the class ended, Mr. Jamal said, "See me in my office before you go home today." Oh, what have I done? 1,000 thoughts raced through my mind as to why he wanted to see me. I was scared, but I had to go see him. Sitting behind his mahogany desk with piles of books in front of him, I was surprised to see Mr. Jamal smile. "Khalid, I know you're doing well in all your classes, but I wonder, have you ever given a thought to your future?" "What future, Mr. Jamal? I'm just trying to get through this week." After that, Mr. Jamal and I met regularly. We discussed many things, but mostly what I wanted to do with my life. Then one day I went home. "Mom, guess what happened today at school?" Mr. Jamal says I could be a mathematics professor. "What do you think, Mom?" "Well, son, I don't really know what that means. But if your teacher said, it must be a good thing." That day I felt as if Mr. Jamal lit a candle in my life, and I could see my path in life. And with his guidance and Mom's encouragement, I finished high school with flying colors and won a scholarship to go to the university in the US. My academic journey wasn't easy, but it ended in triumph. And I spent a lifetime teaching mathematics at university. Today, some of my students come to me and say, "Prof, My parents send their regards. They were your students too. And I asked them if their parents remember me well. Fortunately, they say, yes, they say you were a bright spot in their life. And they cherish the memories and are very grateful. In fact, this happens frequently enough that it makes me wonder how many candles Mr. Jamal lit. Now, I don't know the answer to that. But I am sure if each of us lights a candle in someone else's way, our world will be a little brighter, a little better, and more beautiful for all. I invite you to light a candle in someone's way, brighten someone's day. Light a candle in the world and experience light in your life. Mr. Contest Chair.
Thank you, Khalid. Thank you very much. Judges, please mark your ballots. Mr. Timer, please let me know when roughly a minute has passed. Everyone else, please keep it to a mild uproar. Thank you, Jim. Judges, please finish marking your ballots. And let's get ready for our third contestant, Melanie Cheong. Melanie, I see you there. You're waving at me. Good. So can you see me? More importantly, can you see the timer?
Yes, thank you, Jim. I can see you and I can see the timer waving at me.
Excellent. And I can hear you. So the last question is, can you see yourself? And are you happy with your positioning in the video frame, your lighting, and that sort of thing?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
In that case, let's get started. Judges and audience, our third contestant this evening is Melanie Cheong. Take a ride on Aladdin's magic carpet. Take a ride on Aladdin's magic carpet. Melanie Cheong. Melanie?
I can show you the world, shining, shimmering, splendid. What if you want to travel the globe, then shook out your piggy bank and realized all you could afford was a staycation? Type a 1 in chat if you would like to meet new people. Kim says 1. Ray, Khalid 2, Mansur, so many of you, just like me. Today, I will share how to connect with people around the world at the cost of a staycation. My name is Melanie Cheong from South Africa, living in Sydney, Australia, and I travel to 146 countries on a magic carpet ride. If you have questions, please go to menti.com with the code 56292614 to add them, and we will try and answer them at the end. I'll put that in the chat for you. So where do we start? Toastmasters, find a club, will find you a place. The magic carpet of Zoom, or 10 cent in some countries, gets us across space to that place. But we need help with time conversion. And what's the first tool? Ta-da! timeanddate.com. Go to the time converter page. Then you go along and put in your city. And you add the city you want to go to, of the club you're visiting. You set the date and time, and voila, converted. I now know that I'm going to be visiting online presenters at 9:30 a.m. my time. But there's a little catch. Beware. The first Friday may work out to a second Saturday on the other side of the world. So make sure you double check every time the weeks change. Once you decide it's a good time to visit, not 2 a.m. on a work day, go back to find a club. You click Contact Club, and then what happens? Sometimes nothing. Sometimes something really useful. And sometimes something foreign. Bonjour, Melanie. Our counter, that doesn't count in a foreign language. Guess what? Guess what percent of the world actually speaks English as a first language? Type your guess in the chat. There's some heavy thinking going on. 19, 20, 40. Well, that's very high because probably the closest is 10%. The percentage I found was 6%. Only 6% of the world. So we have to shimmy on down to our second tool, and that is Google Translate. Please come to the hotel at 6 p.m. Sounds a little fishy, doesn't it? Absolutely, if it isn't the voice of a cheery VPN. So you do reverse Google Translate, and you say, "No way, Jose. I am gazillions of kilometers away. Next time." The third tool to find the place your magic carpet's going to go to is Promo is our pal. Promo is our pal, and Facebook is our friend. Really. One of my go-to groups is Toastmasters clubs with online attendance. You find a post from your favorite club or somewhere you want to go to, you save the post and the meeting links, and then you use tool number 1 to convert to your own time zone. Importantly, block it in your diary, your own time zone diary. And remember, it's quite easy to get muddled up when you're everything, everywhere, all at once. So another way is to use the Hansel and Gretel technique to follow the breadcrumbs from someone else's post to clubs in a city, country, or state to find other online clubs or real clubs that understand your version of English. So it looks like we're on the green light and we may have time for one question. Let me go and have a look at our website, menti.com, if we've got anything interesting. And what have we got here? Well, I think I probably forgot to move the slide, so we're a little bit behind on that. But Angela's put in, have you ever traveled to different Toastmasters clubs? And yes, Angela, I have, probably close to or over 400 at the moment and still counting. We're getting to the yellow light and I think my time is up. And I would like to invite you to tell us in Menti if you've got, or else in the chat, the next place you want to visit. Any place in the world, where do you want to go to visit? Paul says Ireland. Australia, yes, Angela, come and visit me in Australia. Mansur, Australia. Andre, New York. Africa, lovely to visit Africa. I'll share your details in chat to learn more about Aladdin's tools. Using Aladdin's magic carpet, take your genius to new friends in this whole new world. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Melanie. Thank you. Mr. Timer, 1 minute, please. Judges, please mark your ballots. Everybody else, please talk it up in the chat. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Timer. Judges, please finish marking your ballots. Everyone else, get ready for our fourth presenter. Our fourth contestant this evening or morning or whatever is Mansur Hasib. Before we get started, everyone, please listen. Get your attention. Mansur has requested that, unlike the other presenters, he would like you all to unmute yourselves so that he can hear whatever is going on your side of the microphone. So if you would unmute yourself as well as turning your video on, he would appreciate it. And let's see, Mansur, I can see you. Can you see the timer?
I can.
I hear you. I gather you can hear me, okay? Can you see yourself on the video screen? Are you happy with your lighting, framing, etc.?
I can see myself.
Excellent. Then are we ready to go?
We are ready to go.
Then let's do it. Our fourth presenter this evening is Mansur Hasib. English. Mansur Hasib. Mansur, take it away.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Thank you for joining my English class. Have you ever been an understudy? Do you even know what it means? Do I study under the table? Under the bed? Or outside under the blue sky? Or do I simply study less? No other language in the world is as confusing as English.
That's true.
Ask yourself, why is common sense not common? And if it's not common, why do we call it common sense? Why do we call it social media? From what I've seen, people are most angry, hateful, and antisocial on social media.
This is true.
My troubles began as a child, after I had already learned a much more logical language at home. At school, my teacher said, PUT is put. However, BUT is but.
7,707.
I went, huh? She explained, I am big, but you are small. So I wrote it out. That extra T and comma in the wrong place. I bad. But I learned. One day,
Double T.
she brought vegetables to class, and I learned an eggplant doesn't grow eggs. It's not even a plant. Bay leaf has nothing to do with the bay. I had heartburn, but I learned it had nothing to do with my heart or with fire. I learned bigger words. HANGER, hanger. It's beautiful. So DANGER should be danger.
Exactly.
But it isn't. Why? I grew up and learned dogma isn't a dog's mama. Dogmatic isn't an automatic dog. A vegetarian eats vegetables, but a humanitarian doesn't eat humans. I came to America, and my friend wanted to show me American culture and take me to a gentleman's club. I dressed up in a suit and tie. He said, drop the tie. Only after I went in there did I understand why. No gentleman in there. It's not even a club. I stood in line at the grocery, and the British person in front of me asked, "Have you got mice?" I thought, what an amazing country. America, the land of plenty. They even sell mice at grocery stores. The clerk shot back, "No, sir. We have excellent pest control." Do you know a store where I can find some? No. Why'd you want such a store, sir? Are you from animal control? I want to cook with it. You want to cook mice, sir? We don't do that in America. No, not mice. Mice. It's a spice. Spice. Oh, mace. Row 42, sir. I got married, and my mother-in-law, who doesn't eat pork, came in from barbecue. And we had the hardest time convincing her a hamburger has no ham. And a hot dog isn't made of dog meat. What about words differences based on country? Do you know what a crisp is in the UK? In the USA, it's potato chips, because crisp is a cool breeze. But in the UK, chips are French fries. Is it because they hit the French? Someone please tell them French fries aren't French. They're American. I learned that in France. And now it's your turn to show us what you learned. Tell me, what fruit is this?
A banana.
Banana, na, 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 banana, na, 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 na. And in British English, what spice is this?
Mice.
Mice.
Mice. Oh, very good. And then what is this?
Mango.
Mango.
Man, go, 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 go.
Mm.
You are an excellent class. Great job, everyone. I give you A's. Wasn't learning English fun in my class? Thank you very much. Give yourselves a great round of applause. Contest master.
Thank you. I was unmuted. Okay, thank you, Mansur. And Mr. Timer, 1 minute, please. Everyone else, I think you're already muted, but please stay muted. Judges, mark your ballots.
Did you know this?
What's that?
Thank you, Mr. Timer. Judges, prepare for our next contestant. Everybody prepare for our next contestant. There she is. Our next contestant is Roxanne Hosein. Roxanne, let's see. Roxanne, I would like everybody to remain muted like we traditionally are. However, Roxanne will be asking you to respond to her questions using the reaction signals at the bottom of your Zoom screen. If you're on a desktop, you have reaction buttons and you can indicate yes or no, thumbs up, thumbs down, that sort of thing. And that's what Roxanne would like you to respond with. That's how you will be giving her feedback. All righty, let's get started then. Roxanne, are you ready?
I am.
All right, I can hear you. I assume you can hear me. Can you see the
There is
timer?
that. I can see the timer.
Cool. Then can you see yourself? And are you happy with what you see?
I am. I have learned to be.
Ah, such a deal. Okay, then I think we are ready to go. Let's get started. Oop. Sorry, having a technical problem there. Okay, now let's see. I think we're ready. Our fifth contestant this evening, morning, or whatever is Roxanne Hosein. The power to change. The power to change. Roxanne Hosein. Take it away, Roxanne.
Friends, do you ever make statements like these? Perhaps as I do. You stumble. I am so clumsy. You left the charger again. I am so forgetful. You made a simple mistake. I am so stupid. Using those reaction buttons below, if you have made statements like those, as most of us have, give me a green check mark. Green check mark. If, however, you're perfect, then give me a red X. All right, there we go. Ooh, I just saw a red X pop up. It went away. I'm going to take that thumbs up as a green check mark. Chris, the green check marks win. In fact, no red X's. If you don't already have it, turn around now and reach for a sheet of paper and something to write with. Today, you are going to learn how you can have massive change in your life in 3 simple steps with these 2 little words. I am. Step 1, create a new mantra. Time to write. Think of that change you want to have in your life. But don't write that down. Instead, write the opposite. Instead of clumsy, coordinated. Instead of forgetful, retentive. Instead of stupid, smart. Get it? We don't want to give power to that thing that we're trying to change. Of course, you are going to use whatever your own words are. Now put your imagination to work and envision what you want your new reality to be. Let's use lazy as an example. Instead of lazy, you'd say industrious. But what does that mean? What do you do or say differently? Flesh it out and jot down those ideas. Your new mantra might sound something like this. I am industrious. I apply myself to my tasks. When I see something that needs to be done, I step in immediately. I see it through to its completion and to a standard of excellence. I do what I'm supposed to do when I'm supposed to do it. As you write, keep these two very important aspects in mind. First, write it in terms of I am rather than I am not. For instance, instead of I am not lazy, you would say I am industrious, because the brain tends to ignore the words no and not. The mind hears the sentence and simply drops that negative reference, leaving you right back where you started. I'll give you an example. You're getting a two for today because this can also double as a parenting tip. I would say to my son, Jared, do not run in the house. All he heard was, Jared, do run in the house. Jared would come running in again. Instead, when Jared ran in the house, I said, Jared, when you're in the house, walk. Okay, Mom. The running stopped. Jared got it. The second and very important aspect is write it in terms of I am, not I will be or I'm becoming. You see, when you put it off to the future, the brain sees no reason to work on the change today. I'll give you a moment now to quickly pencil something, and then we'll move on to step 2. Now that you have your new mantra written out in the affirmative and the present tense, step 2, speak it. The Bible tells us of the power of our words to move mountains when we speak believing that what we say will happen. It is when the speaking and the believing align that mountains start to move. Therefore, speak it out loud. The point being to hear it, because the more we hear something, the more we believe. Step 3, persist. There I'd be lying on the sofa, leg up over the armrest, watching TV, and I'm thinking, I really should write that speech I'm delivering on Monday. I don't feel like getting up, but I know I should. So I start on my mantra. And my brain goes, you lazy liar. Who are you trying to fool? You must shut that voice up and keep at it. It won't happen overnight. But what will happen, you'll soon realize that you're beginning to believe what you've been telling yourself. You look back and wonder, when did this happen? Trying to mark the spot of when things turned around. But I'll tell you when it happened. It happened today. When you crafted that picture in your mind of what you wanted your new reality to look like. If I can get a brave volunteer, give me a show of hands, a brave volunteer willing to share your mantra. Come on, I'm looking for a hand. And I see, who is that? Evie? Evie Hartman, thank you. Please unmute and share what you have up to the first 3 lines. Go ahead, Evie.
I just have, I am focused. I am someone who finishes projects. That's all I have.
And that's all it takes, Evie. Let me tell you, first of all, thank you for sharing. But by saying it out loud, you have just set that change in motion, Evie. And if you do not grow wary, you will have what you just said. Friends, remember, with these 3 simple steps, with these 2 little words, you can have massive results. The most powerful voice in your life is your own. Use it. Contest Master.
Thank you, Roxanne. Mr. Timer, 1 minute, please. Judges, please mark your ballots. Everyone else, please say it in the chat. Thank you, Mr. Timer. Judges, please finish marking your ballots, and let's prepare for our 6th contestant. Christopher Pritchard. Christopher, I see you there. I can see you. Can you see me? Can you see the timer?
I can see you. I can see the timer somewhere.
Excellent. I gather you can hear me. I can hear you fine. So I guess the only other, I need to know, but can you see yourself? Are you happy with the way everything is set up?
I'm happy.
Such a deal then. Let's get started. All right. Our 6th contestant this evening is Christopher Pritchard. Upping your tech game. Upping your tech game, Christopher Pritchard. Take it away, Christopher.
It's not 1955. It's time to up your tech game. Every time some new product comes up, sometimes we're intimidated by it. It's for other people. And then we finally get into it. And then we don't realize that either we're behind the curve, or are we ahead of the curve, or do we want to spend money on this obsolete item, or do we want to make it better? So it's time to up your tech game and start with your Zoom. We're spending a lot of time on Zoom, and it's time to really make it count. It's like being on a television show. You are the star of the show, and things should look good. Lights, camera, action, or lights, camera, sound, and background. So let's start with lights. This is a little LED light. You can get 20 bucks. I've got a couple of them on me right now. Because sometimes you go to a room, or you have a room where the light is not good. So make your lighting good. Nothing is more annoying than to see that fan whirling over somebody's head and that constant flashing during their speech. What's next? How about a camera? Upgrade your camera. It's not hard to do. This is an iPhone. This is a little contraption that can go on a tripod. Use the good part. Use the good camera. Don't use this one. Use this one. This will hook up to your Zoom, and you can use this camera and get the right angle. So if you don't have an iPhone, it doesn't take much to up your game. What if you don't have that? You go to get a little camera like this. It can hook onto the top of your screen. I don't like that. It always gets an angle to it. Put it on a tripod. This is the table tripod. And it's got a microphone that's not half bad. It's better than most of the computer microphones I find. But you can still do better than this, and for not much money. I'm about to show you the rig I use. I couldn't use it and show it to you. And so this is the rig I use. I'm going to turn the lights off real quick here. And this is the rig I use. It's got a standard Canon camera. This camera cost me about $399, which is not all that much. A couple of lights, a frame to hold the lights, and a microphone. This is a top quality microphone. How often does the microphone sound poor? And when you get a top quality microphone, you have to get a little cover for it because it picks up everything. Every little sound is picked up by the microphone. So this little rig, plus the tripod, got about maybe $800 in it. May seem like a lot of money. Believe me, people spend a hell of a lot more money than that on these cameras. But this just ups your game, and you wouldn't put your camera in front of your face when you're talking on Zoom. I learned that the hard way. But this really ups your game in the tech world. And what about the tech world and being intimidated? If you want to use YouTube videos, you can do it now. Too many people, excuse me, I'm going to put these back on here. Too many people are intimidated by YouTube and the editing software. It's very reasonable and sometimes free to get editing software and make a YouTube video that is top quality. It takes some work. Don't just do one and be satisfied with it. Upping your tech game will take your entire speaking ensemble to a new level. And let's talk about that for a second. And then I'll take some questions about this. When you see yourself speaking, you see what other people see. You see your mistakes. You see the things you used to do or that you do wrong. When I started, I would always do this. I spent my time tugging on my jacket. And I'm tugging on my jacket. Oh no, I see the video. Why am I tugging on my jacket all the time? Something's wrong with that. And I was smacking my lips. Why am I smacking my lips all the time? You don't see yourself as other people do. Also, you find out that you may not be pronouncing words or finishing sentences. You know, your brain moves a lot faster than your mouth. And I would find for myself that when I recorded a video, that I was rolling right along and not finishing a sentence. And that made the audience not understand what I was doing. And in my very first video attempt, I actually filmed the audience. And I caught a woman in the audience speaking to the woman next to her. I said, "What did you say?" And she said, "Well, you kept saying TLI and you never explained what TLI was." So you learn from your mistakes by having a record of it. It doesn't cost a lot of money to get a phone and take a picture. So if there's any questions about this, I'd be happy to ask. Raise your hand or just unmute yourself. I'd like to help you with your tech because it's not 1955 and we can really up our tech game without too much difficulty. Anyone?
I'll ask a question. What
Go
do
ahead.
you think about backgrounds, digital backgrounds?
That's a very good one. I happen to be a hater of digital backgrounds because if I would put my digital background on now and I back up, I disappear. At my house, I use the blur because I have cats and the cats are running around on the back. So blur, I accept blur. But if I had this on blur, I couldn't show you different things because the computer goes wonkus. That's really a word, by the way, wonkus. Yes, I think that if you can use a digital background, you should make sure that you do not back up, that it looks good all the time. Anyone else? Well, I guess I've covered it all. So I want to close with this. Don't be intimidated by tech. It's not 1955. This technology is here to stay. Zoom is here to stay. The computer is here to stay. And no matter what AI comes up with, your content is going to count. So make it look good. Mr. Contest Master.
Thank you, Christopher. Judges, please mark your ballots. Everyone else, please maintain a discreet silence for the near future. David, I'm going to ask you, I don't know where you are, I've lost sight of you, but wherever you are, I'm going to ask you to let me know when it's safe for me to start talking again, rather than saying in 1 minute and seeing what happens.
All right. Yeah, Jim, can you just time for 2 minutes? And if we can shorten that, I'll let you know.
Will do.
Judges, just a reminder that there's a section at the bottom. You need to fill in your choices, type in your name as a signature, and click vote. And you should see a confirmation message saying that your vote's been recorded.
Thank you, Jim.
Our chief judge and the counters have moved into the breakout room. You may proceed.
Oh, okay. In that case, as David indicated, our vote tallying is being done electronically, which is both good news and bad news. The good news is if everything works, we're going to get the results amazingly fast. The bad news is we're doing it electronically, which means that things quite likely will not go well, and who knows when we'll get the results back. Consequently, we're going to be a little bit flexible in the next couple of minutes. I'm going to interview our contestants, but it's going to be a different sort of interview. I'm going to ask each of our contestants in the same order they presented the same question. And if you could keep your response to about 30 to 45 seconds, I would appreciate it. And hopefully the timing will work out. My question to each one of you is, I assume that you have participated in other Toastmasters speaking events, but this may be your first webinar contest effort. And so I'm curious, what did you think of doing a webinar contest as opposed to a standard webinar or a standard Toastmasters presentation? Let's start with Jessica. Jessica? Are you there? Not coming, so I'll move on for the moment. Khalid, are you here? We don't have Khalid. Melanie.
Surprisingly, yes, I'm still here.
Oh, okay. There you are. I'm sorry. I'm getting one person at a time up here on my Zoom screen. There you are. Okay, Khalid.
It's foreign.
So,
Yes.
what did you
Go
think
ahead.
of a webinar contest format?
Well, it's always wonderful being with Toastmasters in any shape or any manner. If I may suggest something is next time, perhaps just specify the type of contest. Because you never know, would you like it to be humorous? Would you like it to be inspirational? That's it. Other than that, I enjoyed myself, even though it's 4 a.m, by the way.
Oh.
So I was about to go to bed, but then I heard your voice. So anyway, I'm so happy I joined.
You get
Wonderful
definite
speakers,
brownie
yes.
points for getting here at 4 a.m.
Thank you.
Thank you, Khalid. All right. Did Jessica come back? Nope. In that case, Melanie, I see you there. Melanie, what did you think of your webinar contest as opposed to other speaking events that you've done?
Well, the webinar contest is just like all the other contests, very nerve-wracking, but in a different format. But I think it's always good experience to try something new. So I would encourage everyone to do it in your club or maybe do it here next time and come back and watch it. It's really interesting. You learn a lot from all the other speakers.
Excellent. Thank you, Melanie. Let's see. Mansur.
Yes.
I hear you. Okay. Mansur, what did you think of your first webinar contest?
No, this was not my first. If you remember in 2020, Toastmasters did everything online. And I was in the district finals, so I did that. And I also did 2021 and 2022. Most of it was online. And so I am a digital strategist by profession. So being online or in person doesn't matter to me. I love either format. I just need to adapt and make use of the format properly. Engagement is the only hardest part. So that is why, if you notice, I asked the audience to keep their microphones on, because otherwise it's very hard to get engagement.
I found that very interesting because I've always asked my audiences to keep their microphones off, but I liked what you did tonight. I'm very interested.
This is the way I always do it online. I always encourage, yes, because that way I get the same feedback. Because see, in person, that's what you would get.
Absolutely. Sure. All right. Thank you. Roxanne, same question.
Not my first time seeing a webinar contest, but my first time participating in it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I like the format, and it is something I've had to do as a trainer, is do webinars virtually, but never in a contest format, and never crammed into 7.5 minutes. But it was wonderful.
Great.
And I look forward to more.
All right. That's great. Thank you, Roxanne. And Christopher, I don't see you. Are you there?
Here I am.
Okay,
Here I am.
cool. Same question.
Yes. So of course I've been in Zoom contests, but I really like this format because one thing I feel that Toastmasters has failed on is that sometimes the speeches are just speeches without information or something to take away. And I really like the idea that I could give a message. I could not give this speech in a contest.
That's true.
So I enjoy
a webinar. It works out great. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Christopher. Did Jessica come back? I think she's in she's already in Tuesday.
4 a.m.
That's right. Yeah. So, okay. She may be asleep by now. I wouldn't blame her at all. Okay. I've gotten word that David will be back in a couple of moments. I'm going to stall for a couple of moments in the hopes that that will be the case. I would like to just simply, as several people mentioned, that this was an interesting experience. If you are, I'll do a quick commercial here. If you're interested in doing this sort of thing on a weekly basis, that is what Online Presenters focuses on. We don't do any in-person presentations. We don't have hybrid meetings. We focus solely on, not necessarily webinars, but solely on video productions. So if you want to get more comfortable on camera, if you want to get more comfortable using the technology, as Christopher talked about, if you want to be more comfortable basically in doing what we did tonight, Online Presenters is a great club to join. We meet, let's see, at 7:45 Eastern time, Eastern US time, and we run until 9 o'clock, which is just about now, again, Eastern time. It's 4 minutes ago. And so that's basically it. I've been a member for 4 years, and I knew nothing about video when I joined. And so it's a great place to come and learn. And we are delighted always to have guests. And if you choose to join, that would be even better, because I got to tell you, I'm going to editorialize for a moment. I am so glad that I'm not a judge. Those were 6 incredible presentations, very, very powerful. And I would not want to choose between them. Frankly, I thought they were all absolutely amazing. David or Carolina, have you any word from David?
He will be soon.
Okay, then
He will be here soon.
Kim, are you still here? Kim Lemming?
I am. Hello.
Such a deal. You're our vice president of membership, are you not?
I am.
Would you care to follow up on my commercial and say anything regarding membership wise in OPT?
So I am way less than Jim. So this club has been around since 2017. I've been here about a year and a half or so. And I don't know if I believe Jim, but very much had no skill whatsoever in technology, in talking to a camera, in using Zoom or anything like that. And I'm telling you, this has been such a fun experience for me. I enjoy every week. I enjoy whether I'm Toastmaster a day, whether I'm communicating with you guys as guests. So please, any questions you have, please feel free to reach out to me. And we are going to stay online after the meeting ends to kind of see if any of the guests want to talk about what they've experienced and have any questions. And I just think it's a super worthwhile experience. And David Carr was the founding member that started all this, and he's put so much time into this and we just appreciate all his efforts, and everyone else, including you, Jim, everybody else who's here. And thank you very much. Super fun club.
Thank you, Kim. That was terrific. I'm going to do something I hate to do, but I'm going to do it anyway, and that's put somebody on the spot. Anupama, are you still here? I saw you were here a moment ago. And you're back again.
Yes.
Anupama was our backup contestant this evening, because quite frequently we have somebody to not show up. And so she said she would be our backup contestant if we needed one. We did not, but she was here, she was ready, and we didn't get a chance to hear her. I'm hoping we're going to hear her at a future Online Presenters Toastmasters meeting. But Anupama, as an almost contestant watching the contest tonight, what are your thoughts?
I was surprised there was none who did a PowerPoint presentation. I love PowerPoints and I had it ready. So I was like, I should have been in there. So I when I do my virtual presentations, for me, I love having a visual in front of me. But otherwise, I would say I loved the whole idea of using the background. I know Christopher doesn't like that, but I like the background. It was fun to watch it moving, and it's a great crowd. So I definitely would love to come back and especially present what I had prepared.
I hope you will do that. David is our Vice President of Education. As soon as he gets done with all his chief judging duties, I'm sure he'll work you into a schedule at our earliest opportunity and your earliest convenience.
Sure.
All right.
Thank you.
Still no sign of David, huh? Well, I could do my little song and dance kind of thing, but I really don't want to do that if I have to.
I had a question.
Shoot, Chris.
Okay. When Mansur was speaking and he asked everybody to unmute and people were making sounds, usually the problem with that is when somebody else makes a sound, they take over the main stage. I mean, did you pin him or Mansur? What did you do to prevent other people making sounds from taking over your spot?
Yeah, may I answer that question?
Please.
Yeah.
Yes. So I am very seasoned in Zoom. I've been using it for more than 10 years. Basically, if you use the spotlight feature, so this is why I gave them instructions before my speech, spotlight the speaker. Once you spotlight the speaker, nobody else can come into the video. You will hear the sounds, which is what you would normally hear in person. So therefore, this is the best way to mimic the in-person experience, because in person people will laugh, people will make all kinds of noises, right? And you want that as a speaker.
But you had to ask the host.
Correct.
To do that. Okay.
In case they didn't know. I mean, most of the time in our club, for example, we do this all the time, so we know that that's what has to be done.
So just as a matter of course, the speaker should be spotlighted.
Correct. And if you have two speakers, you can spotlight two speakers.
Right.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Mansur. Following up on that very quickly, if you could, Joni, you handled the technology tonight. Could you elaborate on that? 30 seconds.
Sure, it's exactly what he said. And what you do, you have two options. Personally, you can go in the gallery view. I personally prefer to spotlight from the participant view, because then the speaker who unmutes will float to the top. All you have to do is spotlight for everyone and then add spotlight for everyone. Now, here's a tip for everyone. When you have a number of people, the way I had it spotlighted before, if you go to view, you can actually select remove all spotlights, and then they'll all go away at once. And that makes it go, or replace spotlight. It makes it go faster, especially if a person's just starting out with the spotlight option. And for persons like me who have a video on one and an audio on another, it's a good way to save your technology that way.
Great.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Joni. And again, I'll repeat, for this sort of thing, this is what Online Presenter specializes in. So if this interests you, come back and we can tell more about it. In the meantime, though, I see our chief judge has come back in the room. David, do we have results?
We do, in fact, have results. And I hear that you've been impatient with me, Jim.
No.
Because I claim to have these whiz-bang digital tools that allow us to get a result very quickly. But anyways, I was futzing with trying to make it perfect in the background. But as perfect or as imperfect as it is, here come our results. The Invitational Webinar Contest has now wrapped up, and hopefully Jim has offered congratulations to everybody who competed tonight. We had a great panel of people. You came in, you made this a better event than we could have made it ourselves. But now it's time to announce some decisions. And in third place, virtual drum roll as best I could manage it. And third place winner is Khalid Amin. In second place, well, you're going to see her face in just a moment. It is Roxanne Hosein. And in first place for the webinar contest 2023, the big one at international, on an international basis, our first place winner is Mansur Hasib. Congratulations to all of our contestants. And let's ask that, can we spotlight the three winners? Joni, can you assist with that, with getting them all in a spotlight so that we can take a group picture? And one more, Khalid. Hopefully he's still here.
He was here a moment ago.
He's eating breakfast.
So,
Okay, here I come. Just
No?
1 minute. 1 minute.
oh,
Okay, I was not dressed decently, so.
oh, all right. Well, now you got everybody's imagination going. That might not be a good thing, but all right. Well, thank you all for being part of this. Again, I am interested in maybe seeing other clubs, other districts adopt this contest format. I don't know whether anybody at Toastmasters International is paying attention, but I think it is a distinct skill from giving a traditional speech that just happens to be online to designing a speech to be particularly wonderful online. And we had 6 people who did a great job of that tonight. And in fact, we had also a backup who was going to compete, and we we're going to have her back to present on another occasion. But well done, everybody, and thank you so much for being part of this.